What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. You know, my hat is tipped. I don't wear a hat, but I tip my hat to the Trump administration for very, very innovative ways. Innovative? However you want to say that. Y'all let me know down in the comments. Is it innovative or innovative? Y'all let me know. Innovative ways of deporting criminal aliens. You gotta love it because, you know, the court system has dropped a nuke on our judiciary system in this country by trying to be policymakers instead of litigators, for goodness sakes. So, you know, the Trump administration has to come up with very innovative ways to deport criminal aliens, because if he's ever going to reach Barack Obama's numbers, he's got to do something, folks, because the courts are stopping him. Democrats are trying to stop him. There's protests and riots trying to stop him. He's got to do something, folks, but check this out. Governor Gavin Newsom lambasts Trump for giving immigrants health data to deportation officials. Oh, here we go, folks. This one is good. You're going to hear Democrats try to defend giving criminal aliens government-funded health care. That's right. That is right. Check this out. Calling the move legally dubious and abuse, Governor Gavin Newsom today heavily criticized the Trump administration after reports surfaced that personal medical information, including immigration status, is being shared with deportation officials. Yes, and I will say they started it off. Calling the move. That's how they started this article off. I know. I thought I missed something when I first read this. I'm like, huh? What do you mean? Where's the rest of it? Where's the intro, essentially? But you love this. Calling it legally dubious. Oh, that's an interesting term because, you know, a lot of people, they always ask, is this legal? When the question should be, is it illegal? There is a difference, folks, because, you know, you can do anything you want to as long as it's not illegal, right? Don't ask the question, well, is this legal to do? You should ask the question, is it illegal? Because, you know, anything that isn't illegal is legal to do, for goodness sakes. So legally dubious, what does that mean? That means it's legal and he can do it. Legally dubious. That means, you know, that he wouldn't make that claim if he knew for sure. As a matter of fact, a lot of times they make up the evidence as they go. Oh, well, this is illegal what Trump is doing over here with this grant money, for instance. And they use, you know, an obscure part of the Constitution that they're misinterpreting to say that. Here, though, they're just saying legally dubious. So, once again, folks, with the way Democrats and the corporate press constantly lie about Donald Trump, I would be remiss if I didn't mention, I think they know that what Donald Trump is doing is absolutely legal. Saying legally dubious. Right. The governor's comments come as protests against immigration and customs enforcement raids are being held in parts of downtown Los Angeles for the 8th day in a row. They didn't mention the riots that are also included with those protests. According to the Associated Press, Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. ordered the Federal Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services to give the Department of Homeland Security immigration and other medical data for millions of non-citizens. The data transfer includes information about California enrollees and other states that allow immigrants without legal status to enroll in health services, according to the AP. I wonder why they had to say according to the AP twice, because you notice they started that sentence off, they started that paragraph off, according to the Associated Press, Health Secretary, blah, 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 and then at the end, according to the AP. Is it really according to the AP? I just wonder about that. The order overturns long-standing federal policy that prohibits the agency that oversees the nation's publicly operated health programs from sharing private enrollee data with other federal agencies. Fascinating, that is. During the first Trump administration, many groups that assist people with Medi-Cal enrollment reported high levels of mistrust of government programs and declining enrollment because of the fear that it could be used to refuse citizenship applications or initiate deportation proceedings. Yes, why would any of these people think that they're not going to try to turn you in? Like, to me, if I was a criminal alien, that would sound like a setup. to be honest with you. Oh, come here. Well, you're a non-citizen. You don't pay into this system whatsoever. We're going to give you free health care. I'd be like, no thanks. Sorry. So, yeah, of course, it's just obvious to anybody that you're not supposed to be in the country. It's illegal for you to be there. Of course, they're going to have mistrust in the systems if they're offering you something for free. Like, duh. Like, seriously. Why even add that into the article? Insane, y'all. But once again, everything is for an agenda. They are serving their masters here, which their master is the cult, it's the ideology, it's the narrative. Democrats are good, Republicans are evil. Remember that. Everything is meant to serve that master. Sharing Medicaid beneficiary information with the Department of Homeland Security, which is itself legally dubious, will jeopardize the safety, health, and security of those who will undoubtedly be targeted by this abuse, and Americans more broadly, Newsom said in a statement. Oh, Americans more broadly. Why? Why is that, Gavin Newsom? Why would you throw in Americans? Do Americans have any fears at all of being deported? Should they have any fears at all of the federal government having their information? But once again, folks, this is all manipulative. In a letter sent to states last month, Medicare and Medicaid Services Administrator Dr. Mehmet Oz said he was putting states on notice that he would no longer allow federal dollars to be diverted for immigrant health care. Right? No longer. And not immigrant health care, by the way. Because immigrants that are here legally, sure, they can sign up for whatever Medicare, Medicaid, whatever they want, right? If they're in the country legally. There's all kind of services, right? There's a special service just for those people. What they're talking about here is criminal aliens. But see, the corporate press want to make you believe that Donald Trump and Dr. Mehmet Oz is denying health care to immigrants, which he's not. Not at all. That would be illegal, by the way. But what they are denying health care to is criminal aliens. See, the corporate press, they cannot and refuse to call these people criminal aliens, or they want to call them undocumented immigrants. Well, that's somebody that is not supposed to be in the country because they don't have the proper documents to be in the country. So they are called criminal aliens. But they won't say that at all. So it is up to me, it is up to the reader to interpret the news, which it shouldn't have to, right? No, the news, these writers, they go to school for this. They should be crisp and clear with their wording, their phrasing. All that should be clear, but it's not. You have to read between the lines sometimes, and you really shouldn't have to. Medicaid is not and cannot be a backdoor pathway to subsidize open borders, Oz said in a news release accompanying the letter. He is totally correct about that. Trump administration officials, including Oz, have previously claimed without evidence that states like California are illegally using federal money to pay for immigrant health care. Hang on just a second. What do you mean without evidence? Now, this is fascinating because they just made that claim without evidence. Where's your evidence that they haven't? Because as far as I can see this, okay, so what do you mean they haven't used federal dollars? Every state is subsidized by the federal government when it comes to Medicare and Medicaid. Now, they'll go into this long diatribe about how California has $8-point-something billion that they serve 1.6 million criminal aliens with health care. But hang on just a second. So you mean to tell me that all that whole $8.6 billion that they use goes to those 1.6 million? Is that so? You don't use a single federal dollar? Are you sure about that? Now, you could say that. Okay, sure, let's give them the benefit of the doubt on that, right? But hang on just a second. The Trump administration shared their medical information with the Department of Homeland Security. So that begs the question, how did they get that information in the first place? Because they're not supposed to share medical information with the federal government. Huh. That's fascinating. But, if the federal government is subsidizing their health care, they would be forced to share that. Because why? Because Medicare, Medicaid, or whatever it may be, is paying for their health care. So they want to know what they're paying for. There's this thing called oversight, that we have to keep records of everything that we pay for, pretty much. So, does that not blow your without evidence claim out of the water? Y'all let me know down in the comment section. Newsom's office confirmed that the state's Medicaid agency, the Department of Health Care Services, responded earlier this year to a federal data request to show that the state was not improperly using federal funds, which cannot be used to pay for health services for immigrants without legal status. 6 other states and the District of Columbia will allow immigrants to enroll in some state-funded health programs, but none are as expansive as California's. All states are required to provide emergency Medicaid to immigrants. Right. Yeah, I get that. Look, even if you're in the country illegally and, you get sliced open and you're about to die, yeah, they should definitely fix you up, stitch you up, right? But if you're not in the country legally and somehow they figure that out, it should be incumbent upon them to turn you over to ICE, or at least to call ICE and say, hey, there's a criminal alien here, right? These states giving these people government subsidized health care, that should be illegal, because that's aiding and abetting criminal aliens. That's 8 USC 1330 something, I believe. I forget the code right off the top of my head. But aiding and abetting criminal aliens. Wouldn't you guys agree that giving somebody government subsidized health care would be helping these people? Yes, we can all agree to that. You really don't have to type that down in the comment section. That was kind of more of a rhetorical statement, if you will. Yes, obviously, so it should be illegal. I'm just saying. Regardless if they actually use federal funds or not, but we all know that they do. California currently uses more than $8.5 billion in annual state revenue to provide coverage for about 1.6 million immigrants through Medi-Cal, the state's version of Medicaid. Newsom's office did not say whether it planned to sue to block the use of Medicaid data for immigration enforcement, but spokesperson Elena Ross said in a statement that the administration would explore all avenues to protect Californians' information and safety. The federal government continues to instill fear across this nation and shroud its continued violation of Americans' privacy rights in propaganda, Newsom said. Is that so? Propaganda. What propaganda is that, Governor Newsom? Once again, folks, this is all manipulative. What propaganda? What are we talking about here? Shroud them? Why would they be instilling fear in anybody that's supposed to be here, right? Anybody that's here legally. And why? This is a genuine question for the comment section. Why should somebody that's in this country illegally not be in fear? Why should they just live their daily lives without fear of deportation? I don't think that should be a thing. I think they should be having to look over their shoulder constantly. Well, because they're not supposed to be here, for goodness sakes. It has nothing to do with cruelty or anything like that. It has to do with laws. And are we a nation of laws? And do we apply those laws equally all the way across the board? Obviously, we don't. Obviously, California doesn't think that we should. Obviously, sanctuary states don't think that we should, because they don't mind violating laws. They call riots protests. They think that these rioters are just peaceful protesters, not breaking the law whatsoever. They should be allowed to burn down the city, for goodness sakes. That's what Democrats think. So, I've seen what makes Democrats cheer. I really could care less what your opinions about me or the Trump administration are. California officials, including the Department of Healthcare Services, have long reassured immigrants without legal status that their data would not be shared with federal agencies for immigration enforcement. The State Healthcare Services Department refused to answer questions about sending information to the federal government, instead directing Cal matters to Newsom's statement. You gotta love that. So they just decided one day that, oh, we're just going to share all of this information with the federal government. Right. And I wonder why they would share that information. Maybe because if they wanted to be subsidized by federal funds, they had to. Oh, and if they were subsidized by federal funds, that would blow that whole narrative right out of the water, wouldn't it? Oh, but he did this without evidence. Nonsense. It's all nonsense, folks. The federal government does subsidize the Medicaid and Medicare services of the states almost wholly. You know, maybe California does run a surplus on some of this, and maybe they can't afford to pay for some of this. And hey, maybe all criminal aliens that have their version, or Medi-Cal, whatever it's called, maybe so. But I just don't buy it, to be honest with you, because why would these people in California share the medical data when they know that's a big no-no, that they could get in a lot of trouble for sharing that data, and they know that sharing that data leaves a paper trail that you can follow? It absolutely does. I think this is all just bluster. I think Gavin Newsom is lying. I think he's a scumbag for doing so. But you know, that's just me. I don't have the evidence. I'm saying all this without evidence. I'm just using logic to back up my assertions. That's all I'm doing here. I ain't gonna lie about that. Using logic, that's what I generally do. But we can put 2 and 6 together and get 8. Yeah, 2 and 6 together and get 8. That is right. Yeah, 2 plus 6 is definitely 8. But y'all let me know what y'all think about all of this down in the comments section. You know, minus the mathematics stuff, because I'm not all that great at math. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Y'all don't forget to smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. Share this video anywhere and everywhere you can. And y'all don't forget to do me that big favor and smash that join button. Sign up, become a member. Help me out, y'all. I need y'all's help badly. We'll put it that way. But y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.